Okay, 6-2. We're only spending 1 day per section.
Except for section 1.
Yep. And there's only 4 sections total, so 3 days we're going to be done with this chapter.
I don't like that.
All right, this section, we're still going to do confidence intervals for population means. Confidence interval for population mean, mu, but this time there are going to be small samples. I don't know. Small samples. What do you think is going to constitute a small sample? Below 30. So if n is less than 30, we're going to be following the process in this section. Now, go back to the central limit theorem. If my samples are under 30, what do I have to know about the population that those samples are coming from? Remember that part? The population must be known to have a normal distribution. Otherwise, we can't do anything with it. So, if we've got small samples, we do have a normal distribution, and normally we call that the z-distribution, the z-scores. With smaller samples, it's slightly different. The z-scores kind of need to be a little bit bigger because the sample size is smaller. They now call them t-scores. So this is a t-distribution. A t-distribution. And the first thing we need to do, because with the t-value will change with each confidence level and with each sample size. With z's, if it's a 95% confidence interval, we use the same z no matter how big the sample size is, because it's a large sample. But t-scores change with each sample size. So you have to look up t-scores for every problem. It's not going to be the same if it's a 90% confidence interval, 90% confidence interval. It changes with the sample size. So our first example is going to be to read the t-table. Like, to get z-scores, we had IMSNORM on our calculator. The old ones don't, the older calculators like mine do not have the t-scores built in. The newer operating systems do, and I can't remember how to get to it, but so I'm going to show you how to read the table. It might be IMST. Do you have anything like that, you guys, with the newer operating system? IMST? I feel like it's IMST. But a lot of the calculators don't have that. Do you have IMST? Okay, so IMST is there for you guys. Nope. Nope. It'd be by the IMSNORM.
Wait, what? Oh, yeah, IMST.
There's IMST. So the newer ones have the IMST, the older operating systems do not. So I'm just going to show you the table because mine doesn't have the new stuff. So, our first example, and then you guys can figure out your IMST if you want on your, I think it's probably the area, I don't know. I have to try a couple different things. It might be the, I don't know. Okay, so, find the critical t-score. The capital T, lowercase t doesn't matter, for a 90% confidence interval. Yep. Where the sample size is 22. Okay. So the table, the T table, is on page A, well, it's in the front cover. The T table is on the front cover in one page. And it's also on page A20 in the back. Okay. Okay, you see your T distribution? The top of the page should say T distribution. Okay, we're going to be using this table in all the chapters throughout. Okay, if I look across the top, there's three different identifiers across the top here. There's level of confidence, one tail, two tail. Which one do you think we're going to be using? The level of confidence. Have you ever heard me say one tail or two tail yet? That's the next chapter. So we don't care about those until the next chapter. We're doing confidence intervals, so we've talked about level of confidence. Over here they've got a DF. That stands for degrees of freedom. We have to define that first before we look it up. Degrees of freedom, DF. Degrees of freedom. And degrees of freedom are always one less than your sample size. So if I've got a sample size of 22 here, what's my DF value? 21. So you're going to look up DF of 21, and what's my confidence level? 90%. See where those two, row and column intersect on your table. And then you people with the IMT can try to figure out what goes in there. Try the 90%. See if you get the same thing here. So we got, was it 90%? And then down to 21. 1.721. Try what's in the tail. Try 0.05. Did that work? 1.721? So it's the same as with the norm, you need what's in the tail? And we always just take the positive.
Oh, so it's 1.7207128.
So 1.721, same thing. So you got to do the same thing with the IMP norm. Put the area in the tail and you can use your IMT if you want. If you have that on your calculator. I do not have it.
Wait, which one is the left one? Level of confidence?
If we're doing 90% confidence, we're doing the middle 90,
Oh, my bad.
0.05, 0.05, MC, 0.05, and we always just take the positive one for these.
So we have to use the table.
Table if you don't have it, I don't have it.
Just an announcement that the baseball game with Escanaba today has been canceled. Boys and girls track will be indoors today after school. Thank you.
Okay. Can I get rid of this?
Yeah.
Okay. Area in the tail. Right here. 90 in the middle. 5 and 5. What does it say? Richard, did you get yours to work? 0.05? MC 0.05.
Your calculator's on? It's just MP 0.05, right?
And then you have to put it in.
And you got to put in degrees of freedom.
Oh, okay.
Yes, and we just always take the positive, just like the norm we were doing. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, mine is.
So there wouldn't be a comma after that .05, then it would be a comma, or sorry, parentheses, it would be a comma.
Oh.
Come on, right?
Well, I don't know, I don't have it.
Give you that screen.
No.
Ours is a
I got it now.
Let me see it.
Good, you got it.
Keep going. It's not a button.
Oh, yeah, keep going.
Are you recording right now?
Yeah,
Oh, wow. It's all good.
feel sorry for the people that have to,
See, mine gets that.
distribution, right? MP,
Oh,
oh, that's it right there. Yeah, how hard is that?
Well, it's not gonna be great because you were already at the screen. Keegan.
Oh, I see, I see. 21, I'm gonna paste it in there. Okay, figure it out on your own. Moving on. Okay. Okay, here we go.
We currently don't have any. Well, besides SU's thing, but it's not counting. They're the article tournament, so we're limited.
Okay, so steps by hand steps. First step's the same. You gotta identify your mean and your standard deviation. They have to give you that, or you want one bar stat. Okay, max error. The only thing that changes, well, think about the other formula. What was the other formula? Z-score. So what do you think we're going to have? T-score, which we just found out how to do, times by S over square root of n. So that's the only change, is to change the Z to a T, and everything else is the same. And then your interval then will be your mean plus and minus your error. Then it's looking up a T-score. Okay? What do you think the program is called? No test. T-interval. The program is going to be T-interval. T-interval. In the same place as the Z-interval was, probably one below it. So, let's try one. So, what do we got here? Try it number 2. Try it number 2. Where are you? Okay, find the 95% confidence interval for the population mean, temperature, of coffee, based on the fact that we took a sample of 16 different restaurants, and on the 16 restaurants, the average temp was 162 degrees. Standard deviation was 10 degrees.